last time in 2016 were instrumental in key positions. I mean, I think the SecNav, Secretary of the Navy, rather, and Joint Chiefs, other key functions. Who do you really want to fight for right now? What positions are you trying to get to Trump and say, these are the ones that I think are critical to a successful second term?
The ones I fought for to date have been, my belief from the beginning is that the 2 or 3 most important that must be done properly is the Attorney General with the White House counsel and the people around him. That DOJ is absolutely important. And let's throw FBI in there. What I would call that.
So will he fire? Will he fire Ray?
100% day one. I mean, they're down to the FBI situation is absolutely critical. So that's important, right? You've got to keep that. I think the other is what I call the economic, because the firestorm that's going to come with the debt ceiling and the budget and all that. You have to have Treasury, you have to have NEC, and all the Treasury kind of guys kind of lined up. That has to be one. And then the third is the mass deportations. That's Homan and Stephen Miller. If you can take care of those 3, like Rubio, people say, well, why are you blowing Rubio up? You're America first, and he's a neocon. I said, well, besides the fact he's anti-CCP, to me, that's just not in my bailiwick. Those 3 power agencies right now, you have to do that correct. If you don't do that correct, President Trump's second term is going to get a little bumpy. So, I know DOD is important and all that. It'll kind of fall into place. But you got to get those 3 correct.
So did you give him a name? Have you given him a name, or do you want somebody in particular for FBI?
I've given him a name and worked quite hard for the FBI.
Okay. You mentioned the CCP. I believe.
I think, by the way, I think the FBI ought to be taken apart, shut down as a federal agency, go to Congress and undo it, and rebuild a federal law enforcement force if you need it somehow around the U.S. Attorney. First thing I do with the FBI is go over there with the 250 lawyers they have, clean them all out, send them over to DOJ, and then maybe use them after you fire all the U.S. attorney. Which I've recommended, you should ask for the letters of resignation of all the U.S. attorneys at 1 minute after noon on the 20th of January, 2025. Ask for those. Take the lawyers from the FBI, put them in justice, and then either keep them or get rid of them. But the FBI, I think, ought to be taken apart.
He's talked about bringing, there's been rumors, I should say that, because let's be honest about where the media is, about bringing people like Mark Milley back on active duty, sending him to a court martial, whatever.
The number one thing is that I think Mark Milley's got to be recalled on the first action of President Trump. I think is so important to reassert civilian control over the Pentagon, the uniformed services. I think Mark Milley has to be recalled to active duty on the afternoon of the 20th. And I think a military tribunal, a court martial, has to be called, right, impaneled, a court martial, and Mark Milley has to be brought up on charges in court martial.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.